All right, hey y'all, welcome back to Daily Decolonizing. Today we're doing the Second Amendment. I think this one's really important. I did my best, so we'll see. All right? Okay, we're going to read it verbatim, and then I'm going to go into it a little bit deeper, and then we're going to do prompts, okay? Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. All right? Here it is. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state in right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay, when people talk about, like, I'm thinking of those tread on me flags, right? Those are the folks I'm thinking about. No offense if that's you. But there's a pretty clear divide in this country about guns and about arms, right? And so let's just remember that when this was written, there were no assault rifles, okay? There wasn't, like, the gun violence that we're seeing now. That's not the conversation. The conversation is our rights and decolonizing and decolonizing, okay? All right, so a militia. What is a militia? Because I think when a lot of people talk about this amendment, they don't talk about this part. They just talk about the right to bear arms. But the amendment is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. So a militia is a military force that is raised from the civil population to supplement a regular army in an emergency. Okay? There are militias that exist, right, in this country. And this is where things get interesting, because the militias that exist are predominantly people who are involved in other organizations as well, okay? Let's just say it that. So let's look into how militias are formed. A well-regulated militia is a group of citizens who are trained to use firearms and are capable of defending themselves and their fellow citizens. The term has several meanings, including organization. The militia is well-organized, well-armed, and well-disciplined. Well-disciplined. It's important. Efficiency. The processes for activating, training, and deploying the militia are efficient and orderly, right? So that means there's some sort of hierarchy for the militia in which, okay? Effectiveness, the militia is an effective shape to fight. Balance, the militia would balance the potential tyrannical power of a standing army, okay? I'm talking about the organizations that are supremacist in nature, if you didn't catch my drift. Because when the Black Panthers utilized the Second Amendment for their behalf, it didn't go so well, okay? So, under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that, yes, was written in times of slavery, right, by slave owners, there's no distinction of race within these. That's important, okay? The founders of the United States believed that a well-regulated militia would protect local residents from attack and invasion, provide physical protection from government overreach, deter national tyranny, and meet the needs of national defense. The Second Amendment of the United States Constitution states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay? Again, for people who are pretty anti-gun, that's not the discussion. The discussion is your rights, okay? So, just chill out. All right. Ready? These are the prompts. Oops, sorry, Hootie. These are the prompts. Number 1. There's 8 of them. Do you believe in this amendment? Okay. Number 2. Are you in a militia? Number 3. Do you have arms? Right? And it's not just guns, it's arms. That's any sort of weapon, right? Do you have a cannon at home? No, I'm kidding. Anyway, 4, do you believe that this should be a universal right? Okay, so I'm not talking about just the Constitution, but what I am talking about is that a lot of people think that the way that the U.S. Constitution was written on stolen land in times of slavery is a here-all be-all for everyone, right? The way that corporate America and globalization has taken over the world, also the military, right? I think it's really hard for Americans to conceptualize life outside of America. It's a pretty well-known fact globally that that's a difficult thing. So I'm going to pose this question again. Think about if you weren't born in America and you were born somewhere else, would you want this to be a right of yours, right? Because you think that the Constitution is so great, but if you were born outside of where this Constitution was written, would you want this right? That's what number 4 means. Okay. Number 5, Americans often just think that this amendment is about guns. It's about having a militia that's capable of overthrowing a corrupt government, among other things. Do you understand how this is the central point to having freedom? Okay. Number 6, how has your indoctrination and obedience made you afraid of this power? Okay. Number 7, oftentimes when this amendment is referenced, it is for individual freedoms. Do you understand that that's not what this amendment states? Okay. And number 8, we're going to think a little bit larger, okay? Number 8 and number 4 are very much related. Thinking about if this was a universal right, okay? If we lived in other man-made borders, all right? Think about this. In recent events, how has the ability to form a militia and fight for your own freedoms been seen and witnessed at a global scale? Just this week, fucking Korea has done it. South Korea. Hamas has been doing it for over a year. Hezbollah is doing it in Lebanon. Okay? Thinking larger than America. I know this is the U.S. Constitution, but for Americans, this is the bread and butter of freedom. We're looking at it, we're understanding, and also within America, understanding how other groups of people, right? I already talked about the Black Panthers. These are the rights, okay? Now, there's a lot of other stuff we're not talking about, like all of the amendments and bills and things that have passed in the, how long has it been? 250 years in which this was written, right? But that's part of decolonizing. We're going back to the roots. That's what radical means, is going to the roots, right? So what's radicalizing you? Hopefully this is supporting that a little bit. Because, again, this amendment is not for individual freedoms, which it has been construed. It's just like the Bible. People pick and choose what they want to make a point. That's why we're doing this. Because the point is, if you think that you have a right to bear arms within a militia to take down a government, other people do too. Have a good one.